Dear viewers, welcome to NTV's new primetime show, Hello Excellency. This program designed for the development partners and friendly country of Bangladesh. Around 50 diplomatic missions are now in Bangladesh and more than 20 honorary consulates. We will try to know how these missions are working to build strong diplomatic ties, development cooperation and people-to-people contact. Today we will discuss about Denmark. Our guest, Danish Ambassador to Bangladesh, Excellency Mr. Sven Olling. We have a distinguished guest in here, Mr. M.R. Osmani, former Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh. He will share opinion about Ambassador's remarks. সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, এনটিভির নতুন আয়োজন হ্যালো এক্সেলেন্সি অনুষ্ঠানে আপনাদের সকলকে স্বাগত। এই অনুষ্ঠানের মধ্য দিয়ে আমরা আমাদের বন্ধুপ্রতিম রাষ্ট্রসমূহের সঙ্গে বাংলাদেশের কূটনৈতিক সম্পর্কের বিশ্লেষণ জানানোর চেষ্টা করব। আমরা আশা করব এই অনুষ্ঠানের মধ্য দিয়ে বাংলাদেশের সঙ্গে বন্ধুপ্রতিম রাষ্ট্রসমূহের সঙ্গে বিদ্যমান সম্পর্কের একটি সম্যক ধারণা আপনারা লাভ করবেন। আজকে আমরা ডেনমার্ক এবং বাংলাদেশের কূটনৈতিক সম্পর্ক নিয়ে আলোচনা করব। উত্তর পশ্চিম ইউরোপের একটি সমৃদ্ধ রাষ্ট্র ডেনমার্ক। আজকের অনুষ্ঠানের শুরুতে ডেনমার্ক সম্পর্কে নির্মিত একটি তথ্যচিত্র আমরা দেখব।
উত্তর পশ্চিম ইউরোপের অন্যতম সমৃদ্ধশালী দেশ ডেনমার্ক। ডেনীয় ভাষায় এর সরকারি নাম কনজারিজেট ডেনমার্ক বা কিংডম অফ ডেনমার্ক। ভাইকিংরা প্রায় 1100 বছর আগে ডেনীয় রাজ্য প্রতিষ্ঠা করে। এটি ইউরোপের সবচেয়ে দীর্ঘস্থায়ী রাজত্বগুলোর একটি। কোপেনহেগেন ডেনমার্কের রাজধানী ও বৃহত্তম শহর। ঐতিহাসিক ও সাংস্কৃতিকভাবে ডেনমার্ক স্ক্যান্ডিনেভিয়ার একটি অংশ। গত কয়েক শতাব্দী ডেনমার্কের রাজারা সমগ্র নরওয়ে ও সুইডেন কিংবা এদের কিয়দংশ শাসন করেছেন। তারা দ্বীপরাষ্ট্র আইসল্যান্ডও শাসন করেছেন। ভৌগোলিকভাবে ডেনমার্ক উত্তরের স্ক্যান্ডিনেভীয় দেশগুলোর সাথে মহাদেশীয় ইউরোপের সেতুবন্ধন হিসেবে কাজ করে। এর জনসংখ্যা 56 লক্ষেরও কিছু বেশি আর মাথাপিছু গড় আয় 59,000 মার্কিন ডলারের ওপরে। ডেনমার্ক ধনী ও অত্যন্ত আধুনিক একটি রাষ্ট্র। এখানকার নাগরিকেরা ইউরোপের সবচেয়ে উঁচু জীবনযাত্রার মানগুলোর একটি উপভোগ করেন। ডেনীয়রা তাদের সীমিত প্রাকৃতিক সম্পদের সদ্ব্যবহারে চাতুর্য ও দক্ষতার পরিচয় দিয়েছেন। এটি ইউরোপের সবচেয়ে প্রাচীন ও ব্যাপক সমাজ কল্যাণমূলক রাষ্ট্রগুলোর একটি। ডেনমার্কে ইমিগ্রেশনের ব্যাপারে মানুষের উৎসাহ চোখে পড়ার মতো। শিক্ষা ও গবেষণায় বিশ্বে ছাত্রছাত্রীদের অন্যতম সবচেয়ে আকর্ষণীয় দেশ ডেনমার্ক। 1972 সালে বাংলাদেশের সাথে কূটনৈতিক সম্পর্ক শুরু করে দেশটি।
মিস্টার M.R. ওসমানি, আমাদের সঙ্গে এই অনুষ্ঠানে সম্পৃক্ত হবার জন্য আপনাকে সাধুবাদ জানাচ্ছি। জনাব ওসমানি, আপনি কেমন আছেন?
আল্লাহর মধ্যে ভালোই আছে।
আমরা জনাব ওসমানির সঙ্গে আলোচনা করব। তার আগে চলুন দেখে আসি ঢাকায় নিযুক্ত ডেনমার্কের মানব্য রাষ্ট্রদূত জনাব সোয়েন ওলিংয়ের সাথে আলাপচারিতা। Today's guest in our program, Mr. Sven Olling, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Denmark. We are very much delighted that Ambassador's whole family is with us. First, I'll introduce his wife and their 3 kids, Ingrid, Austin, and Espion. Hello, Excellency. How are you today?
I'm very fine, thank you.
For the last 2 years, you have been serving as ambassador. Previously, you served Washington, Berlin, New York, and many other places. What are the differences you find in Bangladesh compared to your diplomatic experience in other countries?
It's very different. This is my first posting and my family's first posting in Asia. It's also our first posting in a developing nation. But I'm a little bit surprised also with that because when I was told, congratulations, we're making you ambassador. I said, thank you very much. Next question, where are you sending me? And they said, well, we're sending you to Dhaka. And at that point, I mistakenly said, but sir, I don't know much about development assistance. It's not the central field of my career so far. But of course, I have learned now that it's so much more. We have a long tradition of supporting Bangladesh. It's in the endeavor of the country to reach middle income status, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel now. But it's also commercial cooperation, it's also political cooperation, and these are areas that I really like to dig deep into.
As ambassador, how do you look at the 40 years long bilateral relationship between the two countries?
Well, we've been friends all along. I have to say that I'm proud as a Dane, as the Danish ambassador, of the fact that Denmark was among the very first countries who recognized Bangladesh already on February 4 in 1972. Yeah. And if you look back at that time, that wasn't that easy a decision. I looked in the files, in the historic files of our foreign ministry, and read some of the analysis of 1971 and early 1972, which was very clear. They were saying the right thing to do now is to recognize this young, struggling state of Bangladesh. But there was also some fearful tones in that, saying, but if we go as the first, what will the reaction be from the United States, from China, from Pakistan at that time? But I'm happy to see, in retrospect, that the recognition was done early on February 4 as among the first, and that ever since we've enjoyed the very best of bilateral relations.
How do you map out the plan to further intensify the cooperation in different sectors, including trade, commerce, investment, and financial assistance between the Dhaka and Copenhagen?
Well, it's an important part of what we do at the embassy, and we not so long ago in 2010 we opened a commercial section, a commercial wing of the embassy to further trade relations. And
for the first time?
Yeah, for the first time in 2010, and I have to say that it's quite a remarkable success. They're able to really do a lot of things and to expand their work. If you look at the trade figures, if you compare just 2 years back from 2009 to 2011, we just recently got the 2011 trade figures. I'm proud to say that our trade in both directions have doubled since 2009. So things are really looking very bright in many different areas, in garments, of course in textiles. Pharmaceuticals is one important, shipbuilding, or the whole maritime industry, or the IT industry as well. Did you know, for instance, that 15%, that is about 1 in every 7 IT companies in Bangladesh, actually export to Denmark? So a lot is happening. A lot of the ships that are being built in Bangladesh are being sold in Denmark, including passenger ferries. And I'm very proud to say also that the very first ocean-going ship for export that Bangladesh built was sold to Denmark. Our largest pharmaceutical company they're called Novo Nordisk, and they're opening, and later this year, they're opening an insulin factory here in Bangladesh, which I'm happy to say is producing insulin at the world-class level. This is not a low-class insulin, but world-class insulins produced for the Bangladeshi market. Another thing which we are contemplating is a Danish company called Haldor Topsøe, which is contemplating with other investors what could become the largest industrial investment ever in Bangladesh, which would be setting up a fertilizer plant, a new fertilizer plant. We call that KAFCO 2, because there are already investors in KAFCO in Chittagong. So I'm excited about these opportunities we're talking about here for KAFCO 2. We're talking about a foreign direct investment of the magnitude of around $1 billion. So it's not small change anymore.
So far I know Danish import from Bangladesh improved last year, as you said.
Yes.
Record by 43%.
Yes.
Is on 210 million euros.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
These are very positive figures, especially the growth, how fast it is growing. Well, we're very surprised. Bangladesh is a different country than we thought. It's a much more dynamic and interesting country for us than we thought. But secondly, which is the most important thing, they're saying we like the people. The people are ambitious, they're hardworking, they're innovative, they have ideas, and we basically feel, my countrymen say, that these are people we can do business with. And when that thing is okay, when the people factor is there, that you feel you have a creative workforce here, that makes me very optimistic.
Yeah, as you said that our people is hardworking.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
we have a very skilled human resources we are exporting our manpower in various countries. Do you have any plan to collect from here any skilled manpower?
Not much. There is a very small Bangladeshi community in Denmark.
Yeah,
but it's
only
small.
5,000, I think.
Even fewer than that, I think.
Yeah.
But it's much less than if you compare with, for instance, London or Spain or France or these larger European countries. But we do take students, for instance, that come and study in Denmark, and there are a few people who are working there also. You'll see that Bangladesh is now opening an embassy in Copenhagen. So that is the perfect way to go further, because with the Bangladeshi embassy in Copenhagen, we are able to cooperate closely.
Now it's Sweden-based.
Yes, correctly. Now there's one embassy in Sweden, which
Sweden,
covers Norway and Denmark also.
Yeah. Do you think the present political scenario, even the socio-economic condition of Bangladesh, is prevailing friendly atmosphere for foreign investment, particularly Danish investment?
Well, there are definitely things that we would like to see a little different, but on the whole, I would say, especially if you look at the legal framework, things look pretty much okay. There are many smaller issues here and there. The main factor can be on say an issue like repatriation of profits. The rules are fine, but sometimes our companies run into bureaucracies or other inefficiency that makes it a little difficult for them. And of course, one thing which I'm always asked about by my compatriots is about political stability. What is this animosity between the two big political groups? What to expect from that, and so forth. So that's also central in our mind.
Climate change is a challenging issue for Bangladesh, and Denmark addressing the issue globally from the front line.
Yes.
And so as a most vulnerable country, how Bangladesh could be compensated?
Well, there are schemes there, as has been discussed, that what we call climate adaptation funding. That is for the needed preparations that a vulnerable country like Bangladesh needs to put in place. These are many different things, but it could, for instance, be cyclone shelters. That would be one example. These things need financing, and a lot of us have put forward that financing. One thing is that often you'll hear criticism of the developed nations saying, well, you're not putting, the rich countries are not putting forward everything that was promised at the summit in Copenhagen some years ago. What I always say is, well, some of us are, and we are with Bangladesh in demanding that everybody live up to their promise, but some of us are. Actually, the European Union is on track to deliver the promised financing. What I think is important also, and what's a new thing, is what we saw at the climate change negotiations in South Africa recently, in COP17 it's called, in Durban, South Africa. There was a new coalition emerging there, which was the most vulnerable countries led by Bangladesh and the European Union, wanting pretty much the same thing, being pragmatic and ambitious about the climate change agenda. And what we saw in Durban was that coalition actually worked and was able to forge a compromise in Durban. That's something that's pretty exciting to me also, that you would see this alliance, and we can see that maybe this summer again in Rio +20.
Yeah, in Brazil,
In Brazil, when we meet again to discuss sustainable development in Rio de Janeiro. And maybe there again we'll be able to see the most vulnerable countries led by Bangladesh teaming up with the European Union to try to create results for sustainable development.
Dear viewers, now we will move forward to family spokesperson. So far I know Espanol will be the family spokesperson. On behalf of family, he will speak. So how do you feel here?
I love this country, yes. It's been a very interesting